Hey folks, Matt from artoftheimage.com. There's been some talk, some questions actually. I've had people asking me about the successor to the Nikon D810. Now, like I said, there's been talk online about that as well. I mean, we've had the 800, then we've had the 810, which I have here right now. Beautiful camera. People are wondering, what's the new sensor going to be in it? Obviously, we have some stiff competition on megapixels alone. We've got the Canon 5DS and the 5DSR, 50 megapixel camera. And obviously as well, we've got, the Pentax medium format. We've got more medium format cameras out there now. We've got 100 megapixel medium format cameras. We've got rumors of Fuji coming out with their own medium format camera. I think what we're going to be seeing here, just based on the history from Nikon, is a very high megapixel camera. When the D810 came out, it was virtually double anything Canon had, very close to. I think maybe Canon had a 24 megapixel camera at the time. Even then, I'm not sure they did. I think it might have been around the 20 megapixels with one of the 5Ds at the time of the introduction of the D800 sensor I'm talking about here, when it was 36. So, flash forward, we have the 5DS, the 5DSR, 50 megapixels. It's been out for a while. It's not a surprise. I'm sure it wasn't a surprise to Nikon that it was coming. I think Nikon's going to want to reclaim that throne. I think they're going to give us another iteration of the 800. I don't know if it's going to be the 820, the 850, whatever they're going to call it. But I suspect what's going to happen, I have a very strong feeling of what's going to happen is we're going to see something in the neighborhood of 60 to 80 megapixels. I'm leaning more towards 80, maybe even to 100 megapixels, simply because they're well aware that Canon has the 50. Nikon has been making better performing sensors through Sony or through their collaborations with other sensor manufacturers. They've been getting better performance pixel per pixel out of their sensors than Canon has of late. So I don't think Nikon's going to shy away from making a 100 megapixel full frame sensor, and I think they could very easily make one, an 80 to 100, with very good performance, probably better than what you're seeing out of the 5DS, because I don't think that would be that hard. The 5DS is a very high resolution sensor, but it's not particularly a great performing sensor. In other words, if you look at the signal to noise ratio, if you look at the high ISO performance and things like that, it's not particularly wonderful. I think what we'll see out of Nikon in the 820 or the 850 or whatever they choose to call it is a very good performing, very high ISO or very high megapixel camera. So I'm saying 80, probably 80 at a minimum is where I'm going to lodge my bet. That's where I'm going to put my stakes down on if I had to bet on this. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if it was 100 megapixels. So somewhere between 80 to 100. But what do you guys think? What do you think Nikon's going to do for the 820 or the 850 or whatever they're going to call it, the replacement for the 810? Do you think we're going to see a very high resolution, high megapixel sensor in there? Traditionally that's what the 800's been for Nikon. It's their like studio camera, if you want to call it that. And then they've left the D5 line or the D4, whatnot, to be their high performance, a little bit lower resolution, but higher performance as far as speed and whatnot for sports. So, what do you guys think? Leave your comments below. Let me know what you think. Are you in agreement with what I'm thinking here, that we're going to see something 80 to 100 megapixels, a real 5DS, 5DSR killer, a very good, solid competitor for medium format? Or do you think they might surprise us and it might be lower? Or do you think something else altogether? Do you think there's something on the horizon we haven't thought of? Leave your comments below. Let's discuss it. Let's flesh this out a little bit and see what we think, Nikon's going to do. A lot of times you guys surprise me and throw stuff out that I hadn't thought of. So I always enjoy this kind of thought exercise. So leave your comments below. Let's discuss it. Stay tuned. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back soon here at artoftheimage.com.